would like to mention is that Forgiven has not played Kalista yet. It's one of the things that many people have questioned, and will it be first pick?
This is the big plan for Gambit.
The plan.
In case, we don't need to play Kalista, she will be slowly nerfed. You know, now was the first one. This is the master plan for Forgiven, and then when everyone's been using so much time on playing her. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bilgewater is coming.
Don't tell me this is going to be an AP Gangplank with
evidently sooner than any of us were expecting. Maybe it was Gragas. That's now Gangplank.
So this is not the first time we see teams have a very specific target ban against Gambit. A few weeks ago, randomly, Yasuo got banned against Capuchat. We were like, why? Okay, this must be a scrim pick. Then 2 weeks later, he got to play it and got like 10 kills and whatever and completely carried the game. This could be another one. I mean, I've seen Gangplank mid as well. Could have been a Betsy pick. They're hitting instead. Alistar first pick. We mentioned Kalista is not the Forgiven champion. So Origen also can take away Corki, which will probably be the next choice for Forgiven himself.
We're still assuming that Forgiven will not be playing Kalista. What will he play instead? We've seen Graves come out. We've seen Ezreal a couple times. Lucian didn't work. So a lot of champions up and available. And also, with Nidalee up, with Gragas up, what does Diamond Prox lean towards in this game?
So, I mean, I would go Gragas in this case here, but it obviously depends on what Gambit wants to build. They don't have to show the jungler yet. We have a lot of strong picks in the mid lane. Azir and Jace has been fantastic, in my opinion, from Betsy. Two of the stronger picks. And he looks to be going for one of them, and Diamond might want to change it up and not go for that Gragas. I mean, Runeglaive, Nidalee, fantastic, strong early game. But you have to be able to snowball it. If Gambit are picking purely strong lanes, Graves, Nidalee, I can see it work for them.
And we do see Diamond has trended towards that Nidalee in recent weeks. It worked very well just a moment ago for Svenskeren and SK. It will be the Jace as well. So Gambit got the makings of a very heavy poke composition. Origen going to borrow the counter that Unicorns put into place, at least for the Jace, in the support Braum.
Yeah, the key thing though when Unicorns picked the Braum was that it was against Jace as the only poke champion. There's already a Nidalee pick in here on the side of Gambit. So that's the thing you got to look out for here. You can always block the shock blast from the Jace, but when multiple things start hitting towards you, Braum goes a little bit down in value, but he's still great just against Betsy alone, so I like the pick in that sense. Also, fantastic disengage. When Nidalee gets locked in as a jungler, and the reason I prefer Gragas in most cases is because he offers more utility. In the sense, he can be a secondary engage. He can also be disengaged. Nidalee is very one-dimensional in that sense. Late game, what you do is you land poke, and then if you see a low target, you try and jump in and execute it, otherwise you just heal and poke in the back line. So Origen right now have a Victor that's going to be very safe by the looks of it, and they have decent poke already, setting up for a fairly strong composition.
And this is the first time we're going to see Peke on that Victor. DeFisher, you've talked about how you like it as a blind pick mid lane, traditionally on the blue side. I'm a fan. I know you are. I know you are. But it also means Origen have left their top lane for counter pick. Forgiven is going to play the lose Shin. 0-11 in Europe, 0-4 in NA. In the LCS, not doing well. And of course, we will see that Shen for Cabochard in the top lane, which I'm not super excited about because I prefer seeing him on carries.
Yeah, Gambit really run the risk here of lacking damage. Lucian is so difficult to play properly in teamfights because of his very low range. And when you're against the likes of a Victor who has such a mass amount of burst from a decent range himself with the death ray in his ulti, you have to be so careful how you're moving in and out near that Victor here for himself. If Nautilus comes in as a top lane pick as well, mass amount of CC being like, where's the Lucian? Oh, you're 500 range? Yeah, I'm gonna just anchor you in the face and we're gonna blow you up. So Gambit right here, yes, they're trying to pick for like strong lanes. Jace can play aggressive in the laning phase. Lucian into Corki, once you get a BF sword, Lucian can really start being super annoying in that lane until the Trinity Force comes in for the Corki. But like, Gambit is really relying a lot on having a strong early laning phase for themselves, where Origen, teamfight-wise, is looking fantastic.
Both sides with slightly limited damage sources when you look at those mid lanes, but of course Gambit are going to be relying on some of that poke. Nautilus top for Soaz, it'll be the first time we're seeing it for him. And also, not particularly popular here in Europe. Nautilus top definitely seeing way more action in the North American LCS.
And at a small nerf here in 5-13. Just lost a little bit of damage on his Riptide. but he is still extremely strong up in that top lane because what he's bringing is obviously not his damage. That's not why you pick him. He's a massive tank with so much CC against low-range targets. That's his cup of tea. That's what he wants to play against. So we need to see here. If there's a guy who can pull off illusion, it is Forgiven.
Yeah, but he hasn't done it.
No, yeah, true. But I'm just saying.
This is the third time that he's tried. Of the 11 losses, Forgiven has been 2 of them. I'm not a believer, Deficio. We'll have to find out whether or not it can be proven right. Jump on Twitter, let us know. Hashtag GMBWin or hashtag OGWin. Origen, they're already in the playoffs. Will they get one step closer to clinching that semi-final position? Gambit want to say no. Gambit also want to break the Lucian losing streak.
Oh man, imagine if Lucian becomes a thing again. If he wins just one game, the hype. Everyone will go into solo queue and spam him. And then they realize he's still extremely difficult to pull off properly.
Wondered where you were going to go with that, Deficio. So we are into the Rift. Diamond as well as... We are. Everybody is going for a defensive start. As our American brethren would say, the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Niels is...
I'm not really sure what that is.
I mean, he's got a spatula in the river. We're starting off real weird today, Deficio. I'm excited for where this is going to go.
All right, okay, so again, let's look at like what Gambit has been building here. We saw SK Gaming the last game use in Italy super effectively because they had 3 lanes that could play super aggressive in the start. It allowed Diamond to... Svensson to invade in. Now Diamond is obviously looking to do the same. I want to see him play around that bottom lane. So you have TP and Shen ulti to support that, and then you play around Forgiven and this Alistar to dive. And guys, please.
Deficio is like that disappointed school teacher who's really trying to keep the kids' attention, but somebody's got a cool new hairstyle that everyone was talking about.
All right, 2v2 lanes.
All right, so we're going to watch the Krugs.
We're in the Rift.
As a reminder, the last time this team played was week 5, so 3 weeks ago, and it was a very, very heavy defeat on the side of Gambit from Origen. But as we've said multiple times, Gambit continue to grow, and we'll see how that 2v2 goes. Relic Shield for Mithy once they get to lane.
Yeah. I really like Braum into melee support because it's so easy for him to connect just the first hit, to start his passive going. And if Ghost of Paper overextends, you can very easily get the stun onto him. But obviously he's running 4 potions, he's an Alistar, so he's not really the ideal target for you. Unless you walk straight into your face after tanking the Crooks at level 1. So good little trade early from Mithy. He's really trying to zone away Forgiven and Ghost Paper a little bit and give him that early level 2.
Origen do get that. Forgiven and Ghost Pepper respecting a level 2, and they've immediately backed away. He's going to start throwing out those Winter's bites and try and get the passive down.
Oh man, even production is showing it. Everyone just making fun of Lucian.
We're going hard on Lucian. Sorry, guys. The Lucian mains out there. Maybe Forgiven can change the plan. We're in standard lanes, and we'll keep our eyes on this 2v2 matchup, as well as the farming everywhere else on the map. Diamond on track to get both buffs. We're pretty low on HP as far as ganking is concerned.
For me, there's this 2v2 lane in the bottom lane. It's going to be so key for how the mid game is going to play out, because as I mentioned before, Gambit want to use Diamond to invade in around the bottom side of the map and then have Shen ulti as a support to quickly be 5 members. Use that double global and use the Alistar once you hit level 6 to start setting up these tower dives. That's how you can play around with Lucian. For now though, Mithy, because they're pushing the bottom lane with the early level 2, it's a quick roam. Just going to spot Diamond and nothing.
Problem is, he's in trouble. Gambit have spotted this out. The Javelin tosses come in. Ghost is going to look for the engage, knock Mithy up in the air, and that's a knockback. Mithy's going to be able to stand behind me, jump over to Amazing. Diamond's going to hop over the wall. A lot of action, but nobody goes down. Good response from Gambit. Yeah,
very early roam from Mithy, and just quickly realizing there was nothing to gain for him. Gambit managed to push their way back out so they could roam up freely. Betsy's going aggressive here on Pekka, but obviously instantly get denied by the potential stun, but a good trade from him.
Betsy playing very aggressively, got a small advantage over Pekka. I want to look at Pekka's itemization. to see how he's going to make use of those AP changes in 5-13. Where he puts his priorities.
Question is if he wants a Rylai's. Otherwise, we can still see the standard Vector. Obviously, you go for double upgrade fairly early on, your E and your Q. And then from there on and out, just try and almost stack as much AP as possible. We need death caps. We have seen Morel Nomicon a few times. I almost prefer getting CDR boots instead of the Morel Nomicon. And then just try and aim more towards Void Staff Death Cap as fast as possible to maximize your damage, because you have so fantastic scaling. But obviously Death Cap now that it is more expensive, Void Staff as well. It's a bit harder to get there. We might see a filler item in the middle. Now Betsy, he's gonna get ganked.
Here comes Amazing. Can he find the knock-up? Yes! Betsy's gonna flash away. Amazing flashes forward. First blood to Captain Peke. Diamond wants a reply. The knock-up doesn't connect there. There's a pounce from Diamond Prox. Gonna put down the heal. Looking for a follow-up. Got under the tower. Peke, will he get the double? The minions gonna help out. 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Peke got the kills. Diamond got the kills as well. He managed to follow with his jump when Amazing was trying to escape from it. In the end, a lot of action in the mid lane. It's not even going to be about that bottom lane yet. Peke, though, getting 2 kills. That's very key also for Origen. Get him going. He's the late game scaling for them. You got the mid game secured with the Corki pick. You need Peke to have a great game, and we know he shows up in team fights every single game. Once he gets to team fights, he's a massive carry for Origen.
And of course, when Origen played against Fnatic last week, it was Febiven's late game victor that minced them. Multiple team fights. That Chaos Storm came down out of Febiven, and all of a sudden Origen were just gone. We do see the most exciting tank v tank battle get more exciting.
Now the junglers, yeah. Diamond again.
2v2. Level 6s have been secured. Cabochard's caught. Diamond's coming in from the side as Cabochard gets knocked up twice. Now they turn their attention to Diamond Prox, and Amazing got there first. They've got the kill.
A little bit of miscommunication, it seemed. Let's talk about that after, because the bottom lane, Mythi might look for a stun on Ghost of Paper. This is a melee matchup in terms of the supports.
It's very exciting, Deficio.
That was about what's going to happen, but top lane here. Cabochard walked in to ward the bush while Diamond just stepped away from the top lane himself, so there was a little bit of miscommunication, and Origen just instantly replies. Cabochard can obviously use his teleport with his Stand United as well, so he can still join in case something happens. Now PF Sword for Forgiven. Look to see Gambit start making some plays around that bot lane.
700 gold down as we're hitting 7 minutes. CS advantage for Betsy, taking on Peke in that middle lane. Despite the fight that took place, it ended up costing Peke a little bit more. Betsy should be able to pick up this blue buff from Diamond. And those first back. Sheen, as well as the longsword for Niels, are going to return to lane. So now we're going to see whether or not this 2v2 gets a little more explosive, considering there's more damage from both sides. But I think the early game impact is also a change for Diamond. Because for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about how low his kill participation, how low his kills and involvement before 15 minutes was.
Yeah.
Diamond's now been all over the map in multiple fights.
Diamond this split have turned into basically a warding bot. He is the jungler now that Kikis is gone, that's warded the most in the EU LCS, and like that was his way of like, he would shadow lanes, stab his vision control, and then say, now you can just handle it on your own. You don't have to worry about being ganked because you can see everything. In this game though, when you're playing Italy, you have to make an impact in the early game. That's where you are the strongest. So good start for him. He's been able to follow Amazing around, but then we saw a little problem up in the top lane where Cabochard went forward when Diamond went away from the lane, and instantly Origen managed to punish them. But for now, otherwise, it is fairly even in the early game.
Second blue buff up. This one will be donated to Peke for Origen. He's already backed, picked himself up that Fiendish Codex, has Hex Core Mark 1. Diamond Prox deciding the bottom lane may be the scene of the next gank. I think he's going to go around the river, out of vision, so Origen might be in trouble. Yeah, Mythic does not have access to the Glacial Fish, and he's been knocked back. Goes to with a flash engage. Mythic, it's going to put up the giant wall, but it is breakable. Niels not going to aggressively go forward. And that means it's a kill to Diamond, third of the game.
Yeah, this time it was Diamond being there first in the bottom lane. We mentioned how Gambit could stop making some plays around it. Simply just walking the river, flash Q from Ghost of Paper. Mythic could not react in time. Sadly not a kill for the Lucian, but Diamond, I mean, he's going to be very happy with this early game from the Extreme Effect. He can go for Rod of Ages now, especially because he's going to get it so early with these 3 kills. It's a build we've seen before from him and just makes it a little bit more beefy and strong on these early skirmishes.
And we saw how effective it was earlier today. That same build, Runeglaive into Roa. Some of the other items picked up Warriors for Amazing. They go for some of the damage. An early Catalyst for Soaz's Nautilus. I'm expecting that to be Righteous Glory, despite the nerfs. And I'm hoping for it to be Roa. And give us some damage.
I'm going to say Righteous Glory, but maybe. Yep. I mean, Soaz is a player who has done different things. Now, both junglers once again are going to meet each other.
This time round, it looked like Diamond started. Stand United was being channeled, but Diamond's going to run away. Soaz and Amazing in the back in the 2v2. This time, no kill.
It is still funny to see these junglers here just always trying to mirror each other. Top lane have been a lot of action trying to snowball these tanks, which is somewhat weird, but Origen obviously is trying to play against their global instead of having Ghost of Pepper. Stun and walks away. But what Origen is doing is saying, if we dive the bot lane, or if we gank the bot lane, we know Kabashak can join with his ulti, so we take the fight to him, where he won't be able to use it properly. And that is what Gambit is reading as well, and they just keep facing each other up in that top lane.
Very good play from both teams' junglers. Been heavily involved in all of their team's kills, setting them up and responding. Still even on gold as we've crested 11 minutes. This 2v2 Deficio still even, despite the fact that Diamond came in for a successful gank. We've seen Phage picked up, Pickaxe picked up. So actually both AD carries on track for a pretty solid mid game. No clear advantage.
No, very even between them. We mentioned the Braum into melee supports and also the early start for Origen. Amazing, showing himself mid lane, not a gank. That's why Diamond is not here, guys. Otherwise, of course, he would have been ready. And instead, I want to see what else Diamond wants to build. Cooldown reduction boots for himself. Going in heavily towards his poke build. Less cooldown on your spear, less cooldown on your heal. That's going to be the key ones. And Origen will need ways to start fights against Betsy, because they only have meals to respond themselves. But then once you have these big 5-on-5 team fights, it's going to be so much about what Pekka can do on this Victor.
If given enough time, Victors can do a lot. But Gambit are not necessarily going to be super clumped up. Jace, Nidalee, want to spam from afar. Forgiven, only really wants to close in once people start going low.
Pekka is running with their magic penetration boots, so he wants to be a little bit more impact here in the early to mid game. I assume then he's going to finish the into Morel Nomicon for the cooldown reduction, which you need. So he's going to delay his core late game items a little bit, but he's going to be stronger right now at this given time. And that's obviously where Origen likes to really shine in the mid game. And now Soaz, he's in trouble.
Diamond and Cabo are jumping on. There's going to be the Void Rush. Amazing's come in. He's knocked up Cabo shot. Soaz still trying to get away. Chilling Smite is down. That's a shock blast from the side. Betsy's found Soaz. Hammer goes down on Amazing. With the help of the tower, double kill for Betsy.
Betsy roamed early because it was Gambit starting the gank, so they could set it up in advance and say, Betsy, start moving in case we need you. He flashed Shock Blast onto Source, but his mid lane, or his mid tower might go down. Fighting the bottom lane as well, Trevor.
Breakable comes out. Teleports coming down from Cabo Shot, not using Stand United. Velk away from Niels as Mithy needs to put down the Glacial Fissure. He won't even get a chance. And Gambit 6-3.
Gambit might have lost the mid tower, but getting 2 kills top, and that opened up Kabashak to finally make a play on the bottom lane because Source was gone now. Instant reaction. Origen fighting, even though they knew there was a chance of a Shinjo. And look at this here. Betsy's already moving because Gambit is communicating. We're going to gank top. The last few times Amazing was there. If you start moving now, we will be able to collapse the 3v2 at least. He's going to flash and then Shock Blast onto Source. 1 kill, gets the second one. Mid tower was already fairly low from him. And then right now, the bot lane of Origen just have to be careful. They have to be like, okay, there's global. He can freely just TP down. Let's not engage in anything or risk getting engaged on. Not what happened. That's why Gambit got another kill for themselves.
So Gambit have a small gold lead with the kill advantage and the CS advantage. Small ones they've got. But I want to mention that for Origen, that tower, that is their 11th first tower of the split in 15 games. Origen are pretty good. For contrast, they've also got 10 first dragons throughout their 15 games. Dragons still available, might be able to increase. With the amount of vision that Gambit have put around the objective for the time being, neither team's going to have an easy task of securing this one.
Very few pink wards though around the dragon itself. Only one placed by Gambit. So this is more, we're going to secure vision to see if you started and also of to spot certain ganks, but we're not really stopping you by any means from doing it. So Origen are setting up themselves. You can see all the ping wards have been invested on the top side because there's been so many ganks around these top laners. And Origen starting it. Diamond and Betsy are gonna go say you take dragon, we take Soas.
And hopefully the tower, if you're a Gambit fan. Diamond's come in from behind, there's no flash. Size is gonna at least put that dredge line depth charge down. So they're gonna keep being chased. Red buff is ticking. The great chase continues. A second dredge line. Soas has escaped. There's a Void Rush up top. With Gambit looking for the kill, have they given up the tower? No, they should still be able to secure this. And so, they will.
Again for Gambit here, they try and play around Capuchat to open him up so he can TP down to the bottom lane in case they need him. By always forcing Soas away, now in this case trading for the dragon. Gambit try and snowball the game at least in terms of gold. Origen more investing towards the late game with that early dragon pickup for themselves. But still, very interesting to see how even on a tank, Capuchat is the focus for Diamond. So often. If he gets ahead, he is the main carry on this team. Even though Forgiven is there, even though Betsy is there, Capuchat is the main carry.
And that's kind of Gambit's team identity.
It is.
When you look at how Gambit play, and their play styles, and their team compositions, it's predominantly built around Capuchat. And that's not what we were expecting coming into the split. We were expecting more of a focus to be on Forgiven. And the person that gives up most of the farm, gives up most of the gold and resources, tends to be Betsy in these circumstances.
Right. We obviously got to highlight the fact that it's been a very top lane focused meta. It's not been about the AD carries. It's something Forgiven has been very vocal about how people should not expect the same player they saw for SK Gaming in the last split because the meta changed. It's no longer Lucian Graves, win your lane, win the game. Cinderhole, the big tanks and so on made Graves nearly impossible to play. Lucian with the low range, too many CCs that could catch him in fights. So it's not about the AD carry anymore. And that's obviously why Forgiven doesn't have the same impact. However, I still feel like he's doing a lot with what he's getting. He's the one AD carry is doing the most damage in the LCS. He gets a lot of farm always, even though he's not getting ganks from Diamond, he's always securing farm or at least going even in his laning phase. And that's where Forgiven has been strong, even though it's not been about him. So they know they have a carry in Forgiven, but it's still about Capuchat mainly.
Forgiven's going to have to step up to break the 0 and 11 losing streak Lucian had set. We did see an attempted gank from Diamond, albeit not particularly heavily invested. We're just trying to save that bottom outer tower. And while all that is going on, we still continue to farm. So we're comfortably in the mid game. Will be shortly, I should say. Gambit are the ones that hold a 2,000 gold lead. They're down a dragon, but they're ahead in kills.
And Gambit is the team that wants to keep the laning phase going. They're the team who wants to keep split pushing almost all game long in this case, because that's where you can utilize the Shin ulti effectively. If you can take a cross-map objective and have Stand United join in as well, when you have an Alistar to start dives and a Nidalee to skirmish, you want to play this spread-out game. Origen is the team who wants to 5-on-5 team fight, so this is not in favor of Origen. And that's also why Gambit are happy to continue the laning phase. They're just waiting for that one opening where Capuchat can TP down to the bottom lane on the Alistar, and you just dive whoever is there, or you take the tower for free.
Betsy this time will be looking to poke out Mithy. There's no support from the rest of Origen. And I'd like to draw your attention to some itemization, Deficio. Diamond did not go for the Roa, instead built the Abyssal Scepter second item. And Pekka's picked himself up a Needlessly Large Rod as opposed to finishing that Morellonomicon. So options on both sides.
Right. So obviously for Pekka, it's because he had the 1,250 gold or say around that mark here, so he could get the large rod for himself. It's very standard when you go back and you see how much gold you have. Can you get a big item, or do you just want to finish the current one you're building towards? Now, also with Morel and Nomicon having a fairly easy build path. However, the diamond build here, this is something he likes to do. I know a lot of people really hate Skirmisher Saber on Italy, but with Runeglaive as well, and Diamond, he's playing a very in-your-face style. The Abyssal Scepter against so much magic damage on the side of Origen, Corki, Victor, Nautilus, allows him to play super aggressive in fights here and always try and jump in one-on-one. But it obviously does hurt him a little bit in terms of poke because of his mana pool being so small. And that's where we see a difference between how other people play mid-lane and how Diamond likes to play.
This game, it's working out. 20 minutes is up, 2 towers to 1. Gambit have been the ones dictating the tempo of the game. We saw them push bottom out of tower. We saw them sieging the middle tower. And Origen are now being pulled into question. Origen has to dig a little deeper. They're playing from behind a little bit. And they are the ones that have to bounce back.
Yeah. Origen as a team, when they don't win the mid game, which is normally the strongest point for Origen, tend to collapse. And it's how a team like Rocket managed to beat them early in the split, where they shut them down in the mid game with the roams. They like went for mid and amazing every time. That stopped Origen from ever setting up their own 1-3-1 setup or their own split, push out the waves and then group together and like get maximum farm on your carries. They couldn't do that because of it, and they got shut down. Gambit are looking to do the same again. We still split up in lanes. Diamond, he's chasing.
Diamond's chasing. Pounce. Pounce. Diamond's gonna pounce. Dredgeline comes out. He's gonna pounce some more. One more. So as sidesteps, Diamond's looking for the Runeglaive auto. It's not gonna be enough. The shield comes up. Stand United will save Diamond Prox's life. Diamond really wanted that kill.
We've hit the point though where it's no longer worth keep ganking for this Shen. Bot lane tower went down because Origen knew there were 2 guys off top lane fighting against Soa, so they lost the bot lane tower for this 1 kill. Not worth it for Gambit.
Peke has just been hit by that shock blast. Rest of Gambit gonna siege now this middle tower. Despite losing bottom, can they equal it out? Short answer will be no. Those who are Mythy trading. So Dragon number 2 might go the way of Origen, and Tofficio mentioned the gold lead and how Origen collapsed. The 3 games they've been behind at 20 minutes, they've lost.
Yeah. This was a good trade though for Origen. Got the 2nd Dragon, so they might play towards number 5. Got a bot lane tower as well just by losing your top laner. And again, as I mentioned, that's where Gambit needs to use the Shen now to set up plays elsewhere on the map. Don't keep going for Soas over and over, especially when there's no tower to gain from it. The mid lane was super low. That would have been such an easy dive for Gambit to go for. Stand United, Nidalee, and Betsy together. That tower is either going to die, or if Pekka stays around, you just tower dive him and kill him. Like, there was basically other options for Gambit.
Well, if there was ever any signal that Gambit were not looking for more than just comfortable farming, is the fact that Forgiven still not purchased boots. 22.5 minutes in, Phantom Dancer completed, Eye Edge completed, he's gaining power. Needlessly large rod and cloth armor for Diamond, so he might be going for Hourglass. Going to further enforce that play style.
Yeah, just in your face.
He's a melee cougar form assassin.
We're going to see him jump in and try and get to Nils and Pekka in these fights here.
Hey,
he's building defensively. Early Baron being started. Down the bottom lane. We got to split with some copper shot.
There is a teleport, but no Stand United.
Origen, Source is recalled. There's a ping ward here, so they haven't spotted it yet. Source is TP. Mythy is far away. That's a super early and
ladies
quick
and gentlemen,
Baron.
Gambit have been scrimming Fnatic. A 22.5 minute Baron. That was as safe can be.
And so much control around the top side from Gambit allowed them to have these pink wards for a while in the river. Origen just clearly not expecting that rush onto the Baron.
Let me see if I remember your wording. If Origen fall behind in the mid game, they collapse. Was that the terminology? Cabochard's gonna dash away. Has a flash, but not even gonna need it. And while Pekka shows bottom, Betsy secures the last outer tower. Diamond looking for more. Mythy's gonna put down the Glacial Fissure, and Niels looking for a kill. Stand United comes out, and here comes Gosu. Doesn't get the Pulverize. Headbutt's gonna be available, but flashes burn to escape. And Origen, with their tails between their legs, get out alive.
That's what I like to see here from Gambit. You play away from the Shen so you can use his global properly. And Origen is like, yeah, we try and force a fight. Oops. Instant Shen is there. That's for more attack damage on the tower, Trevor, obviously. Or Mistlick, but...
I prefer option number 1. But Deficio, despite all the changes in 5.13, despite AP getting a rework, I didn't quite expect Peke to still be sitting on, well, nothing.
Building a bit of everything for himself. But then, so he goes back. He's like, okay, I got 1300 gold. Okay, large rod for myself. Okay, next time I go back, oh, I only got like, what, 800 now. Blasting one, fine. 850. I have to change, 10 gold cheaper. Thank you. Now finally completed. So he was building towards his death cap for a while and now towards the Morel Nomicon. So he had like 2 items in mind. Always just didn't have enough gold to fully complete it. It is what we see though still on these Victor builds. It's about getting as much AP as possible because again your scaling is fantastic.
Baron secured, as we mentioned a few minutes ago. All the items are now starting to stack up. And almost every member of Gambit has got pink wards in their inventory. Wait.
Well, you got a death cap now, and when you have a hat on, you kill people.
That looked like it hurt. No hourglass for Diamond means he just gets 2 shots by Peke. Peke did use his flash for that. And that will at least slow down some of this Baron push. But Gambit have got their split push threats. Threats maybe not the right word. Their split push tool in this Shen.
Yeah.
And he's already starting to try and control those side lanes. You can see Betsy down bottom as well.
And with Gambit having the map control and being the proactive team for a lot of the game here, what we have to remember, when you have 2 guys who needs to teleport away from the lane, the proactive team is always easier to coordinate it and have the first TP coming, because you're the guy calling, okay, we're gonna dive bot lane, move back and start TPing. So you might always get like 1 or 2 seconds ahead of the enemy team, and that can be enough to lock down a target with so many squishy members on both sides to get that 1 kill.
And of course, with all the damage that Diamond's putting out, he's currently dealing 3 times the amount of damage that Amazing has put out in the map. Despite the fact that Amazing is on Rek'Sai and has that warrior enchant, just hasn't been able to have the same level of impact or pressure that Diamond's currently exerting.
Well, Amazing with the warrior enchant, clearly trying to match obviously the mid lane, the early game. That's what we see more and more for junglers now. I mean, some of the Cinderhawk tanks have been nerfed, probably Rek'Sai is one of them. So we start seeing like Lee Sin come back quite a lot. We've seen Nidalee now with Runeclave, and that also means some of the junglers like Rek'Sai might go Warrior Enchant more often to match the early game. I feel like Amazing had a fine start to the game, but the problem was when Gambit has a second global, it becomes more difficult, and Origen is engaged in some, in my opinion, fairly poor fights or skirmishes.
And that's where that 1 unbreakable shield versus multiple forms of poke becomes slightly less effective. Unbreakable times out and that accelerated shock blast then comes out.
But Given needs to be careful. He's standing in a bush with a ward in. I'm sure he's expecting it. So if he's standing there trying to hope for someone to step forward, he might just be caught himself.
It's backed away. So this time round, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Vision relatively deep on the side of Origen, and we can see Cabo Shard plus Diamond move their way up to the middle lane. Shock blast does not connect with anybody. And we see Gambit didn't really have the numbers or the minions really to get on that mid inner turret. So the first siege has fallen a little less effective.
Gambit have poke, but they don't really have a whole lot of siege in itself to hit the tower. The 500 range Lucian, no thank you. That's just the way of dying and continuing that losing streak. Instead, again, you want to land the poke before these objectives, and you want to try and create the numbers advantage with the Shen, but that's not going to happen now because there's 5 members from Origen, but the fight is on.
Gravity Field's going to block the entry into the jungle, not going to stop Gosu. The first frag will be secured onto Soaz as Lucian gets it. Dragon focused down by Gambit, and they accelerate their lead. 7,000 gold. They win the fight, and they peel for tower.
And just look at the setup here from Gambit, coming from 2 different sides, landing poke, and then it goes to Pepper walking into the choke point with a Shen ulti on. If you're Nils or Pekka, you're never gonna walk close to that because the Shen taunt can just get you. Amazing might even go down.
Amazing's going to be able to tunnel away. Hourglass comes out. Chaos Storm may be enough. Diamond Prox manages to pounce away as Betsy is focused out by Niels and Peke. It's so far a 2 for 2 as the flash taunt from Cabo keeps Niels in place, and Earth is trying to get away. Gambit siege down another tower. Niels is doing the best he can to wave clear, and it will be enough this time around. Home Guard comes out for Soaz. He's looking for the dredge line. Holding the trigger. Connects onto a minion. He's going to flash forward to bonk for Given on the head. And Niels gets the kill credit.
All right, Origen responding in the end here, but Gambit won the first team fight. Baron is not alive. Best Origen might be able to do is this top tower, potentially the blue buff, but I think Diamond just took that one away, so it's not there yet, boys. Need another 40 seconds.
You time it from time Gambit secured it. So this is the dive in team fight.
Right, so after the one team fight from Gambit, they're going for another dive. Obviously with the tower on Diamond at first, so he's out of it now. Nice stun from Pekka. It secures at least one kill for Nils. And now it's just like buy time. Just wait for Source to respawn. Maybe even TPs into the tower and Respawn's at least getting one kill for himself. But it's still Gambit in control. They're the ones starting the fight. They're the ones coordinating when to go in, when to back away. And they're controlling the choke points, which is so key for them. Whenever you have a Shen, even an Alistar as well, these carries here can never walk into a choke point because of the flash pulverize from the Shen taunt. Like, there's so many ways to catch multiple guys if Origen group up. And that becomes tricky for them when they're behind now.
Origen splits up. Peck is so far away, but Gambit have peeled. That's a two-man taunt, and Diamond plus Forgiven have already dropped Miffy. Glacial Fissure did not even come out. Diamond tosses a javelin, and that's 2 quick kills.
Why was Pekka down the bottom lane? I guess he was trying to take a blue buff and then realized Gambit just already started the Baron. He's here now. Can Origen do anything to stop it? Kabashot's TPing in.
Kabashot's looking for a target. He's called Beckett! The culling culls him. Diamond manages to get the kill. Gambit back away. Fissure not used. Chaos Storm not used. Origen are out of sorts.
That's the thing we didn't highlight in the start. Pekka is running with Ignite, so a very aggressive summoner. Didn't get to use it in the laning phase, and instead the lack of cleanse against the Shen becomes super, super important here in the late game.
Niels manages to get a kill onto Gosu, but it is nothing but consolation as Gambit get the Baron. And that's the second time this game. We're 31 minutes in.
Gambit, every week, slowly getting better and better and better. And it's not even like we can say, okay, Gambit, no, this is like crazy play style. Like back in the spring, it was pure 5-on-5 team fight for Gambit. No, to me, they've turned into a fairly standard team, just with a lot of focus on the top lane as the only real standout thing. And that's a great thing for Gambit. It shows they've improved. It shows the shot calling is getting better for them and how to play out the map. And the pick and ban phase as well is changing. It used to be, what on earth is going on? Getting better and better for Gambit. This one is obviously very physical focused for both Jace and Lucian. So you gotta worry if you go full late game against double tank.
I believe in the Diamond AP Bruiser Cougar form assassin build.
Don't really like the Horning guys right now for it, though.
We'll find out on the next episode of Diamond Jumps into a Team Fight. But what a great split for Gambit. Because in summer they were somewhat out of sorts and fell at the first hurdle in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, but they made playoffs. We said at the beginning of this matchup, Sean's went on record and said, if we do not make playoffs, this season is a failure. That is a very, very harsh sentiment.
It is.
But it is one that may not come to pass because Gambit, again, are looking great.
And look at the schedule. We mentioned how Gambit as a team, because they're facing two of the guys around them in the standings. I believe they have the Unicorns of Love tomorrow. Like, those were the key games for Gambit to win, and Elements next week. Origen were not one of the games where you're saying, okay, they're going to win that one, and then they're going to be here in the standings. It is still an upset if Origen lose to a team under them in the standings. But this is just great play from Gambit overall, and so key for that playoff race.
What a way to win. From early lane ganks that Diamond put into play after all of the critics talking about his first 15-minute game impact. He's been one of them. Gambit using those Baron-empowered minions for at least another minute or so to siege up. Peke takes a shock blast to the face. Unbreakable Zap will block some of the damage, but Betsy just rinse and repeat. You can't block everything, Mithy. Origen starting to fall to pieces, but this is the one area where we can say somewhat expected. Gambit's ability to take towers while the towers are being defended,
right,
not the greatest. No. It has to be through split push, it has to be through dives or through kills.
Yeah. Land a mass amount of poke, enable a dive from that. If you don't manage to do it, you just back away and you try and work around these objectives and you try and force Origen out of their base. Peke is running full offense. Summoners, build. Cabochard is going to look for him in every single team fight, and it's going to be fairly simple for him to target him out. Because again, Gambit have been in control of the map. Look at the vision around the next dragon. If Origen wants to contest it, they're walking through a jungle that is owned by Gambit. So they can't do it. They have to just give it up. Say, start playing around maybe an overextension from Gambit if they're like tower dive where they shouldn't. But then you have this Alistar, which makes it so risk-free to go for some of these dives. We still need to see what's going to happen if Origen can keep stacking armor. Lucian Jace, that is the damage dealers on Gambit. The magic damage of a Shen doesn't really count in the late game. Then it's only about diamonds. So we see Mythy, Frozen Heart coming in soon. Frozen Heart already for swords, Randuin's for amazing. So they have tanks. Problem is the damage dealers are dying. They're getting caught out. They have no way of defending themselves. And that's where Gambit can always just win the fights.
Diamond's doing a great job of distracting Origen, which is enabling Cabochard or Gosu to get that CC down. 35 minutes gone, 14 to 18 kills. That Dragon was just secured a moment ago by Gambit, which evens it at 2 apiece. And with Stand United available, teleport shortly. Cabochard's up top. Gambit go back to the rinse and repeat style. That's a giant cow! Not gonna find Peke. El Toro has to back away. Whoa! Peke almost got killed. Or was that about not having enough damage to Fischio?
Well, I mean, against Peke, the guy with no defensive items, it doesn't really count, does it? I think Forgiven expected to get the last auto off with the flash, but didn't get it. Instead, we just go to the top lane.
Soaz has to flash away before using that depth charge. 3 members of Gambit continuing to siege. The accelerated shock blast chunks out amazing. Wave clears going low. Niels is taking a duel with Forgiven. It's not going to work out. That is a giant cow. The Ignite pulverize goes to taxis through a minion and takes Niels out. Stand United's coming down from Cabochard. Gosu's looking for more. Unbreakable has been used. Gambit have cracked open the base. Forgiven will start hammering away onto the inhibitor, and Soaz will do what he can. Diamond lands the javelin. Gonna start chunking away with that haunting, guys. Goes golden. Gosu's in trouble without Unbreakable Will, and the Fisher does nothing. Gambit have already started to back away as Diamond, I lie, gets slowed by the Fisher before he tastes Mythy. Taunt is sidestepped by Amazing, but Inhibitor's down. Betsy's soloed Peke. A little bit of help from Gosu, and now Gambit, they're going to be pushing. They're pushing for the win. That's a flash double taunt. Works out. Cabochard catches onto the kill on Soaz, and Gambit take down the first Nexus turret. Lucian looks to be picking up the first win of the summer split.
Not yet.
Oh, I'm getting too excited. 18 to 10 in kills. Culling's going out, but Niels has got the reach end of the fountain. Deficio. Gambit are backing away. It's not done yet.
Go back. Wait for Baron to respawn. Force a fight around it or just take it for free and then you can go in. I mean, you don't even need that Baron if it is. You got double super minions coming for yourself. You are still very, very far ahead in this game. And Gambit really been in control in the mid game. Origen didn't manage to get the lead from it. And they've just been behind in every fight so far.
Exceptional play from Gambit.
Gambit doesn't even have a locket against so much AP, but like...
Who's going to buy a locket with all that engaged? This is that one...
Ghost Paper could have gone for it and delayed one of his other items if he wanted to. But yeah, you don't build it on... That's one of the things about Nidalee. You don't build locket on her, typically. So you got to get it somewhere else. Shen could maybe have gone for it, but he's pushing most of the time.
BF Sword Shen. I mean, why? Go on, Cabochard. Why not? Gambit set up for the Baron, as you mentioned. It would be the 3rd of the game. A lot of items. I mean, look at Gosu with Nomad's Medallion, the coin rather, as well as Righteous Glory. He can run down whoever he wants to.
Yeah.
Mythy will be the target. Glacial Fisher comes out. Soaz is going to connect with a little dredge line, and Mythy chunked so low from that javelin toss. Soaz already has to retreat. Gosu still unhurt on the front line. The giant cow walking through Origen's front lines. The 9th kill of the game for Diamond. Another base going to get focused down. Flashes from Gambit. They want to end the game right now. They want to end the Lucian losing streak. Gambit have got super minions pushing towards them. One Nexus turret stands between them and a victory. Gambit look to be crushing the league's #2 team. Finish so I can have a win moment.
We need Lucian to win a game.
It's going to happen. The turret's being focused.
Watch out, Solo
Gambit are going to tie 4th place and are one step closer to the playoffs.
Lucian is back.
Phenomenal play from Gambit.
I was sitting all week being like, okay, which teams you really want to look at? Gambit was one of them because of the way they keep getting better and better. And then they had this loss last week to Giants where they were like almost broken from it, being like, oh, this could have been, or this potentially could have been the game we had to win to make playoffs because now we have Origen and so on. And now they come back this week. Fantastic performance. Composition-wise, yes, okay, you're running